Hey everybody, welcome to the Sassy Girl Entrepreneur Show. I am here and today we're going to be talking about your money, right? Small business money. We're going to be talking about how to get tax ready. We're going to be talking about PPP loans. They're doing a second round, getting information about that, and just really how to be prepared. Like, what can we do? What should we know as small business owners? And I have my guest with me, Heather Palmer. How are you doing, Heather?
I'm doing great.
Good. So Heather is in bookkeeping and you've done this like your entire life. You are like a QuickBooks pro. You know numbers. Your parents do this, right?
Yeah, my dad, I was 11 years old working at his office as a CPA, just doing silly stuff. You know what I mean? Just grew up with it. Went into HR for a while. Said, you know what? This is what I know. So
and you help small businesses, right? Like me,
right.
Get organized and stay on track. It's no secret. Heather definitely has been a huge asset to me when it comes to doing my books and QuickBooks because they were a bit of a disaster. And I've gotten better. I've definitely gotten better because you don't know what you don't know as a small business owner. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of small business owners, one of the downfalls is that we think we have to do everything. We're supposed to know everything. And when you first launch a business, more times than not, you have no money to pay anybody to outsource everything that you're not good at. But as soon as you do get some money, I highly recommend having somebody help you with your money so that you can make more and keep you on track. So I brought Heather on today because I think it's so important to talk about. We've got taxes that are coming up. Everybody is going to be doing their taxes pretty soon. Maybe you are a sole proprietor. Maybe you've got contractors. Maybe you have employees, right? Everybody's in a different place. But they've just released the second PPP loan through the government, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So talk to me, what exactly is this PPP?
This is basically, they're calling it payroll taxes, but you don't necessarily, or payroll reimbursement. It's kind of the way, what they tried to do originally was give the small businesses money so that they can keep their employees employed. But people don't know that small people like yourself that don't have employees, as long as you have a business, you've been in business, you do have to have some type of records as far as, you know, a 12-month or close to it, records for your business. But you can also apply and they'll give you 2.5 times your payroll or 2.5 times your, if you're a sole proprietor, let's say you made a profit of $2,000 a month. Right. They'll give you 2.5 times, whatever your average is. They'll give you 2.5 times that rate. And then you have 24 weeks to spend it. So you put it back into your business is what they want you to do. Of course, they want you, if you have payroll, keep payroll on because you have to show proof of being able to keep the payroll on. But that also includes your self-employment income.
That's good to know. So how can you allocate this? Like, it has to go back in the business. So you can't get this money and go take a vacation or go buy that diamond ring you've been looking at, right?
Exactly.
So it has to go back into your business. Other than payroll, or is there another way that you're able to use that money?
Yeah, as long as 60% of it or 65%, I'm not sure the exact percentage, as long as 65% is spent on the payroll part or your self-employed income, then the rest of it can be either rent, utilities, things that you need to operate your business. But rent, utilities, there's a couple other little things, but that's the main. But still, it helps pay for your rent. And, you know, as long as, and you can use 100% of it towards your payroll, but you can also use the rent and things like that.
So what if you have a home-based business like I do, and you don't have rent? Well, I guess then you can use it towards your.
Right. You can put in, if you had in place, let's just say you had a home office and you paid yourself the rent, meaning the home office expense. If you had some kind of contract that qualifies, that's what you have to have. The biggest part is not getting the loan. You don't have to show all the stuff to get the loan, but you get the money, and then to get it forgiven so you don't have to pay it back is where, you know, utility or rent agreements, payroll records, your profit and loss for your business. You have to submit that to show that you, hey, I actually draw out of my business, let's say $2,000 a month. You just have to show proof, and that's for the forgiveness portion. So
okay, so you bring up another great point. So not everything is forgiven. Some is forgiven. Some you have to pay back
if you don't spend it. If you spend it all, if you have 24 weeks to spend it.
Okay.
So if you spend all your money the way it's appropriated, meaning payroll, rent, things like that, you don't have to pay it back. It's forgiven.
Nice. That's great.
Right.
That's great. Now, the first round, a lot of places ran out of money pretty quickly, from what I understand.
Right. They ran out, and then they added funds, or they didn't run out. The banks stopped. There were so many people applying for this money that the banks got overwhelmed. So, and then once everything settled at the end of last year, there was still money left. And then they carried it over to 2021. And so, and again, everything on this program changes like minutes. So I would
by the time we broadcast it, it could be old.
The debate last December was, hey, we got to give that money back. Whoever we didn't loan it to, like the government said, here, we're giving you all this billions of dollars to give out to small businesses. And then there was money left, and they said, hey, we want that money back. We want to put it back. You know what I mean? We want it back. Yeah. They said, no, we're not going to do that. So then now they open up the doors to continue, the program, because now there's still money left and we're going to spend it, basically give it to small businesses.
Yeah, it's great because there's so many small businesses that are hurting because of the shutdown. And
a lot of people think, oh, like yourself, why I don't want to take the money. You know what I mean? It's sitting there for the purpose of growing your business. So why not utilize it? The only thing is you do have to have some type of record. I mean, it's a bank per bank, depending upon what they need from them. But like I had a client, she's a physician, was not real good with her records. But we went back, we calculated all her records for the last, 12 months. Because the best thing is to have a wide range, because you have to have 12 months average. So let's just say you have 10 months worth of records. Well, your average is going to be smaller now because you're doing it by 12 months and you only have 10 months. So you have to have the records, but if you've been in business, why not take advantage?
Right. So what records are you talking about?
I'm
Just
talking about
listening there who's a sole proprietor going, records.
I'm talking about, we might have to go back and recreate. I don't want to say the word recreate, but we might have to go back and calculate it. If you have bank statements that says, yep, I got $5,000 coming in, or $20,000 or $50,000 coming in. I paid my rent, or I paid my car, or I paid my utilities, or I went out to eat and, mileage, or whatever the expenses are. We have to put together a profit and loss for each month. So you do, and that's more on the banks because they need to back up why they gave you the money. Now you don't have to worry about credit. I'm not saying worry, but the person, and there's different people that I've spoke to that have gotten the loans that necessarily may not been credit worthy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like substantially credit worthy. So it's just a matter of, do you know what your expenses are? Do you know what your income was? And that's from your bank statements, basically, or credit card statements.
So we're going to talk about how do you get that organized in a little bit, right? But so let's just say that I'm a small business owner and I'm listening. I did not do this the first round, right? But I'm like, you know what? I think now I am going to apply for this PPP. Either my needs have changed or there is money there and I want to take advantage of it. What do I do? What are those steps that I need to take to get that ball rolling?
Basically, starting basic. What's my bank statements? Where are my bank statements at? Downloading the bank statements. It's not hard, but you can always have somebody help you. You know what I mean? But once you get your bank statement, you're like, okay, I got $20,000 in deposits. I went to office supply. You just break it out one step at a time. Figure out figure out what happened that month. And then January's done. You can put it in QuickBooks. You can do an Excel spreadsheet. There's all different types of ways of doing it, but you just one month at a time. And then you reconcile with the bank and say, yep, I got everything accounted for. Even if you took money out yourself personally, then we just want to put that aside and say, okay, that doesn't count. And then go through each little step. Did you go to the post office that month? Do you drive your car? Maybe didn't have records, but we go back and say, okay, I went to the post office this much month. You just one step at a time. Depends on what you're looking for or what you've done in the past.
And then once I get all those records together, like, do I call my bank? Do I call my accountant? Do I go to SBA.gov, IRS.gov? Like, what do I do next?
There's one step is if you have a banker relationship. Let's just say you've been doing bank with somebody and you have a relationship. You can call them, because some banks may not have, they may have, because they were assigned a certain amount of money per bank. So whether it be PNC, SunTrust, Fifth Third, whatever the name of the bank is.
Right.
They were given a certain amount of money. And that's what happened in the beginning. Everyone was given a certain amount of money. So once people applied, they couldn't allocate any more money. They were just given so much. But then that's where the government started to kept the money flowing. So the first thing would be to call someone at the bank, whether you have a relationship or not. You can call anybody and say, I'm interested in PPP. They'll send you to a loan officer. They will tell you what records they need. Is it bank statements? Is it your payroll? If you do have payroll, do you need to send them payroll records? What do you need? So then they go through the process. A lot of them have portals. You just go on and have a portal. Now, let's just say you don't really have, your bank ran out of money, let's say, or they aren't doing it anymore. You can call other banks, and they usually require you to have a bank account there, which that's not a big deal,
Right.
So that's where the process. I'd start at the banks first. And if they're like, yep, we have money, then you can say, okay, next step,
Right.
and you do need to have some type, if you're self-employed, you do have to have some types, you have to have more money coming in than you had going out. So that's where, you know what I mean? And that's where you kind of got to know where you're at a little bit. You got to have a little bit of an understanding, and there may be things you did that you may have taken expenses for that you may not need. Do you know what I mean? So there is some little process, but it's not that difficult.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. It's really good to know. And I think it really is important to have a good relationship with the people who handle your money, right? Whether it is your accountant, your bookkeeper, or the person at the bank. I know, when I was in Ohio, I had a great relationship with my banker. I'm now in Florida because the bank in Ohio is not here in Florida. So I've moved to PNC, which is in Ohio, right? And the guy that I work with, Ronnie, he is awesome. Like, he's on it. He calls me back. He helps me network. I mean, a good banker is so valuable. So if you are a small business, don't think like you're too small potatoes to start that relationship with a banker, because you're going to grow and they're going to help you get there. They know the things that, in my opinion, they know things I don't know, right? So they can give advice and suggest different programs and different options that you just don't know what you don't know, right?
And that's another thing. They're rolling out programs left and right to try to keep people in business. So aside from the PPP, there are other things out there that SBA loans, a lot of people are qualifying for those. Those are separate, even though PPP and SBA are the same.
Okay.
There's two different types. So the PPP is a grant type thing that if you spend it correctly, you get it forgiven. And then there's SBA loans that are like, I think they're 2 to 3%, maybe up to 4%. I forget the percentage, but those are loans that you don't have to pay back it'll take you 30 years to pay it back.
Wow.
So you also could qualify for that if based on the bank and things like that. But they're constantly, Senate and the House are constantly trying to find ways for small businesses. And part of the reason why individuals didn't get so much stimulus this last time is because they wanted it to go out to the small businesses. So there are programs out there. So whether you look at the bank or you look on the website, there are programs out there to help small businesses.
I did not realize that. So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about, let's talk about how to keep those records. And you did touch a little bit on it, right? You use QuickBooks. I know I use QuickBooks, so you're always in mine. And you have certifications from QuickBooks, correct? Talk about that. Like, what do those certifications mean? Because they're clearly, I heard they're tough trainings to go through.
They are.
From you, from other people.
I've done QuickBooks, a long time. But, you get out there to be certified. They call it a pro advisor. You have to go through rigorous training to to be considered that, because basically then you're listed on their Intuit sites and things like that. But it's probably 80 hours worth of, maybe more, of different programs, whether it be your entrepreneur program, QuickBooks Self-Employed, there's all different kinds. QuickBooks has a huge amount of different types of programs, whether it be on your home computer or whatever. So yes, you go through the program and you study and you get certified, and then you have to recertify every year. So yeah, there's quite a bit in there. Again, it's from the accounting calculations to how QuickBooks works, and there's a lot of information out there as far as you don't keep good records. Well, QuickBooks has apps now that you can upload your receipts.
I love it. I absolutely love that you can do that. I am like
your receipt it on your phone, and you can upload it. You can track your mileage. It makes it so much easier for those that are really horrible at it, So,
Yeah, I've been horrible at it. And it's been hard because, right, I was the shoebox girl. I was the one that, and gosh, I think you may have seen my shoebox maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not really sure. I feel like you have, but
yeah, and I'm not, I say I'm a type of person, say as I do, not as I say, not as I do. But now that I've been doing the certification and it's in my face all the time, I'm a lot better than I was. But I was that person. So that's why when people come to me, oh my gosh, you're going to be so upset with my records. I'm like, no. You know what I mean? I like that because I like to help teach people. I like to see where they started, and I like to help walk them through, like yourself.
Yeah.
Walk them through the steps, and then to the point where they're doing their own, right. It's a technical term, but the bank feed comes through, you know what I mean? And those that, if you record those bank feeds or you match them up every day or once a week, whatever, then it's done and you don't have to worry about it. And then you also are educated on what's coming through your door, what's coming through the bank. What are you really doing with your mileage?
Yes.
Are you using your ATM card too much personally? And you should be maybe not doing those things through your business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of keep yourself disciplined when you're looking at it on a regular basis. So my job, I enjoy those that really want to do the right thing. You know what I mean? I don't want to stay in business because I charge you a lot of money and I'll do all your work. I want to help teach people to do it themselves or not. If they don't want to do it, I have people too that says, I don't even balance my own personal bank account. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy those because, they appreciate what I do.
Yeah.
So, but it's a process.
Well, you're right. And when you are doing it, like for me, I didn't do it at all, right? My bank statements was hooked to QuickBooks. It dumped it in for, too many years. And then at the end of the year, I'm like, oh, Heather, can you reconcile like the last 12 months for me? So I apologize for that.
No, that's right. I learned a lot in the last couple of years.
But honestly, though, when you are logging in there, like now I log in every single morning before I start my day, right? And I do it little bit by bit. But I've caught mistakes. I've caught companies that have billed me twice. And this is embarrassing to say, right? But I'm confident that I missed that before when I really wasn't keeping track, right? And they look from your end, right? Or whoever's doing it looks like it's something legitimate because, there are companies that we order multiple, like software, right? There's multiple fees, different products we can purchase from them. And so I even was thinking like, wait, did I order 2 different things from them? And I'm like, wait, no, I didn't, and they were great. They fixed it. But had I not stayed on top of it and checked it on a regular basis, could have easily been missed. And I would have just made the assumption that I just purchased 2 different products from it and didn't log it right.
Right.
But let's talk about tax write-offs. This is my favorite. This is my favorite topic. And I'm always learning more things, right? New things. In fact, at the end of the year, I called you, right? Because my lease was up on my car and I don't really drive many places, especially now that I don't know anybody, like everything really is, if it's business, because if I'm doing something, usually Jason and I are going together, but I was like, what do I do? Do I lease or do I buy? Like, what are the benefits? And your answer helped me, right? Because there's no clear evidence. There's no clear right or wrong answer. Explain what that is.
Right. And everybody's a little bit different. When you lease a vehicle, you're going to take an expense every month, whether it be $300 payment, $500 payment. You're going to take it every month. And you're going to have that throughout the length of the lease, right? And that's all deductible. You want to buy a vehicle. Let's say a lot of people that want to for sure buy are the ones that basically need the write-off. You want to reduce your income and you want to take a nice deductible expense. So you have a bigger write-off when you buy it. So, and it's maximized though, depending. If you have a big truck, that's different. But if you have a vehicle, like an SUV or a smaller vehicle, they limit you on, it's like 10,000 something. Each year it changes. I don't know the exact number, but you take that initial write-off and then you get to depreciate every month the value of that, whatever the depreciation is for that. So that's the main difference. And then there's the mileage that you also can deduct. And actually for 2021, it went down a little bit. It's like 56 cents a mile. It was 57.5 last year. But that's the difference between leasing and buying. And again, a lot has to do with where are you sitting right now? It was at the end of your year, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, this can also help you going forward, because you're going to have a little bit of a larger, probably long term, may or may not, and that's where we can calculate what this length of lease, what's it look like that you're going to pay for the car on that lease agreement, or you take the original write-off. So.
Right. And something like that, somebody may not, a new or small business owner may not even be thinking about. They're like, oh, I need a car, so let me go and get a car. What's best for me right now? Not thinking of the business write-off and how it can impact your business in a certain way, right? And doing what's best for your business and you, of course. But I think that's important to think of. What else is a tax write-off? Like right now, a lot of people, whether you had an office or a storefront, a lot of people are working from home in 2020. So I'm assuming there's going to be more expenses. Like, so what can you write off if you have a home office?
Well, basically you have to have a specific room, meaning, or space. Let's just say you're a contractor or you are a designer and you have a storage area in your house as well. There's spaces that you use for exclusively your business are a deductible. For instance, let's say you are a designer, interior designer, and you use your garage to store your products. You buy inventory or whatever you have. You can use the size of that garage, and say there's electricity out in that garage. You can deduct a significant portion of that electricity going into the garage than if you were in your home office. Your home office you can still use, but you can't have it like a gaming room for your kids. It has to be an area. If the IRS came in and said, let me see your home office, you have to have an area that is a space that's only for business. So then you measure that out, and then you measure your whole house and you kind of figure out a percentage, and then you're able to deduct your utilities, your rent, your whatever, light bulbs. One of the things I learned from my father years ago is he had like a little spreadsheet, like a little sheet, and he put all your expenses, whether it be light bulbs, repairs and maintenance.
I didn't think of light bulbs. I mean, I just changed the light fixture in here from a light to a fan because it's hot. Is that a write-off?
Right. And anything that you've put into your home, and then he'd have a column that says, okay, like for instance, the garage, my electricity going to the garage. And again, a lot of this is estimation, but if you have the key to it is having the documents available, because let's just say you ever got audited and they're going to say, how did you calculate that home office stuff?
Right.
You're like, oh, here's my sheet. And as long as it's reasonable and ordinary, they'll approve it, because they see your proof Do you know what I'm saying? But if you say, oh, I have no idea how I calculate it, they're like, oh, we're going to tell you how you calculate it, and you were wrong. You know. So basically,
you don't want that conversation.
Right. So it's just the best thing is just as much documentation as you can have of why you made a decision to do whatever you did. It's the best. It's the best way.
So what else? Like entertainment. Let's talk about that.
This is a big thing.
Going out to meet somebody for dinner or coffee, although that probably didn't happen as much in 2020.
But 2021, Trump got 100% meals and entertainment approved. It used to.
Oh, you're kidding.
Prior to, it was 50%. So
yeah, I knew it was 50%.
It was 50%. Now, what's important, let's just say you and Jason go out to dinner and you're talking about us meeting today and what you're going to talk about and what you learned or whatever. You take that receipt and you write down discussed, conversation tomorrow, or my webinars tomorrow, or my training tomorrow, or whatever. Just document who you're with and, what you discussed if you wanted to. Let's say you're talking about a client, you go out to dinner and you talk about a client. You put it on the receipt. It takes 2 seconds. And then you can take a picture, upload it to QuickBooks. You know what I mean? Yeah. The more documentation you have. Now, again, another way people are like, oh, I lost my receipt. I cannot deduct it. You can take that bank statement and you can write on beside it. Now, the best thing is to have that receipt. You definitely 100% want to have that receipt. But if you don't, write it on the bank statement. You know what I mean? So you have the documentation that show you.
That's a really good point to bring up, right on the receipt, when I fill the tip in at that moment, still sitting there, I make a little notation at the top. Now, I haven't put what we've discussed, right? But you don't have to start doing, like, just a little bullet point about this is what, because there are clients or people that they're prospects, right? More so, right? When you're kind of like meeting with them on a regular basis before they actually become a client, and you're talking business, the same person you may go to dinner with or lunch or coffee or whatever multiple times before they actually become a client. And then it's like, it looks a little bit different, but that's good. I'm going to start doing that. I didn't do that. Anything to cover my butt. Like, that's
the thing. It comes down to the most records you can have. I mean, they could still come back and disallow whatever, let's say, worst case scenario, but it's the most documents. They don't want to have to deal with all that. They don't want to have to, they're mostly pretty kind people. You know what I mean? It's just important to have as much as you can. That's all.
Yes. Yeah. So is there any
advantage of,
pardon me?
And take advantage of the deductions. There's no reason not to take advantage of what's given to you, so that you can save on taxes or whatever. I mean,
yes.
You were like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. Well, when you're making $100,000 a year or plus, it starts becoming important. So why not get in a good habit of it now for those who are starting out?
Yeah.
Or starting fresh. This is a good time to start fresh, for the
beginning of the year. Start those good habits.
Right.
Before we wrap it up, is there anything I didn't ask you that you get a lot of questions about from small business owners or entrepreneurs that maybe we should share? Or did we touch on most of it?
Touched on a lot. Sometimes I'll get questions on, how do I set it up? Do I want to be a single member? And this is probably another big conversation because it's a long conversation.
Yeah.
But you don't have to start. Some people want to do everything right away in the beginning. They want to spend a lot of money. They want to pay attorneys. They want to do all this. You don't necessarily have to do that to start the business. You just start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a big thing is not everyone has an aptitude for the accounting. So don't get overwhelmed by it. It can be a learning process. You know what I mean? There are people out there that can help you with it, and they don't have to charge you an arm and a leg. You know what I mean? But that's just, a lot of people come to me about different things like that, and don't worry about it. Just start,
Well, and I will say this, when I first started, and you and I actually met through network. Well, no, our kids, right? Our kids. Yeah. And soccer and yeah. So initially we met through there, but then when we started working together, you did kind of coach me along as far as, okay, now is a good time to do this. Now you need to do that. Like, now you need to do this. And even changing from LLC to S Corp. And, we've talked about all those different things. And I just want to thank you, because you've been a great coach to me as far as saying, okay, because I wouldn't know, right?
And a lot of people get overwhelmed. They'll be like, I don't even want to call Heather because I have my stuff is a mess. You know what? I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen some messes, and some are worse than others. But like I said, it's just one step at a time.
Yeah.
Give me the information, and we'll walk through it. I might have a million questions at first, but as I learn your business, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gets easier, and people then become relieved that they are in a place. So when PPP programs or grants come through, you don't have to worry about going through all that information to try to figure out, whether you qualify or don't qualify, and then you can spend time on your own business. You don't need to worry about your accounting and spending 5 hours at night, when the kids go to bed or whenever, trying to get it together because you're already on track.
Yes. So if somebody wants to reach out to you, and I'm going to put this over here too, how do they reach you if they want help with their QuickBooks, or if they've got questions, and what's the best way to reach you?
They can call me. I don't know if you put that up there, or my phone number, or they can email me.
Yeah. What's your, we can put it, I can add it in the blog post and share that in the information.
Or you can put it on my website, and they can reach out that way. Probably maybe the easiest.
Okay, great. I will share that with everybody. So check the notes. If you're listening to this on the podcast, check the notes, and all of Heather's information's there. If you are watching this on YouTube, check the notes there too, or visit me on my blog and you'll be able to reach Heather. So Heather, I just want to say thank you so much for helping us today, for talking about all this information. I know that a lot of the stuff in the beginning, I didn't know it, and I'm still learning. Like I'm still have those moments like I did now, going, "Oh wait, what?" Like, so thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.